You know, the very first diet ever prescribed for humanity is probably not what you're thinking. It was incredibly simple. It contained no meat of any kind, no fish, and no dairy products at all.
But it goes even deeper than that. This diet didn't even include most of the vegetables we'd recognize today. Things like carrots or potatoes, anything that required tilling the soil. The whole focus was on what could simply be gathered, not what had to be cultivated through hard labor.
And that's because this diet, well, it wasn't just about nutrition, it was actually a theological statement. It was about receiving food as a pure, unearned gift in a world that was created perfect. A world without death, or struggle, or decay.
So that's what we're going to explore, the Genesis diet. What Scripture tells us God prescribed for humanity before the fall.
When you really dig into this original diet, you get a powerful glimpse into God's original design. It reveals the kind of relationship He intended for us to have with the earth, one based on peaceful provision, not a constant struggle for survival.
So yes, humanity was given dominion, but it was a dominion of stewardship, a peaceful rule over creation, almost like a partnership. It was never about violence or just consuming things. The relationship with food before the fall was meant to be a direct, joyful interaction with the Creator's incredible generosity.
So what exactly was on that generous menu? Well, the blueprint for it is laid out for us incredibly clearly in a single verse from the book of Genesis.
The first category God gives is every herb bearing seed. Now, what does that mean? Well, it refers to plants where the seed is the main event. So think of grains like wheat and barley, or legumes, things like lentils and beans. This was the foundation. Then, the second category is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. And this is incredibly broad. It covers all fruits with seeds, like figs, olives, and pomegranates, but it also includes what we call nuts, like almonds and walnuts, because they are the seed-bearing fruit of a tree. And notice that phrase, "To you it shall be for meat." It means for your substance, your food.
So there you have it. Those were the two pillars of humanity's original diet, given directly by God. Seed-bearing plants and the seed-bearing fruit from trees. Simple, direct, and completely sufficient.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the harmony of the original creation. See, in the very next verse, God gives every green herb to the animals. There was no competition for food. Humanity and the animal kingdom had their own distinct provisions, and they lived side by side in peace.
This wasn't a diet of lack or restriction. It was a diet of perfect sufficiency, designed specifically for a perfect world.
The Bible tells us that after establishing this whole order, God looked at everything He had made and declared it very good. And that everything absolutely includes this diet. It was perfectly designed to sustain humanity in that original unfallen state. And of course, the setting for this diet was the Garden of Eden, a place of just staggering abundance, planted by God Himself. The mandate wasn't to toil, it was simply to dress it and to keep it. It was a role of joyful stewardship, in a place where every single tree was both beautiful and good for food.
But then, everything changed. The fall, as it's described in Genesis chapter 3, didn't just affect humanity's relationship with God, it radically altered our relationship with the ground itself.
For the first time, eating is linked directly to sorrow and to struggle. The ground itself is now cursed. The easy, joyful provision of Eden is replaced by a life of toil.
The contrast is just so dramatic. What was once a freely given gift now becomes a product of painful labor. The ease of the garden is replaced by sorrow, and sustenance now comes from eating bread by the sweat of thy face.
And the changes just keep coming. After the Great Flood, God makes a major concession to this new fallen reality. In Genesis chapter 9, for the very first time, humanity is permitted to eat meat. The original peaceful order is altered for a world that's now filled with violence and struggle.
So why does any of this matter for us today? What can we take away from it? Well, it offers a really profound way to reframe our entire relationship with food.
Here's the crucial insight. Food, in its original design, was a sacrament. It was a physical means of receiving and participating in the goodness and grace of God. Every meal was an act of communion, a tangible reminder that all of life is a gift.
And, we can connect with this original design in very simple, tangible ways. For instance, when you eat a piece of fruit, a fig, a date, or a pomegranate, you can pause and just consider it as a direct, unearned gift, just as it was in Eden.
When you prepare a meal with lentils or barley, what Genesis called the original meat, you're tapping into that simple, foundational sustenance God provided. Or even just having a handful of almonds. That connects you to the concentrated energy God packed into the seed-bearing fruit of trees, a perfect provision.
Thank you so much for watching. We invite you to continue learning with us. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It lets us know you enjoy this content and helps you stay tuned so you won't miss what's next. Ultimately, a look back at Eden is such a powerful reminder that our true nourishment comes from an even deeper source. It brings to mind that scripture, "Man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live."